A very warm welcome to the top three finishers of the FIA Formula One Bahrain Grand Prix. In third place, Fernando Alonso. In second place, Sergio Perez. And taking win number 36 of his Formula One career, our winner, Max Verstappen. Max, your first win in Bahrain. It was the perfect way to kick off 2023. You delivered what you'd been threatening to do in testing. You must be delighted.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really good race. I do think, it was important to have that first stint where I could open up a gap a little bit, and after that I could look after my tires quite well. But also the car was working well, a bit like what we've seen in testing and the long runs we've done throughout the weekend. But you still, of course, need to show that in the race. You never know really what can happen throughout the race. But we were on top of things, and it was quite straightforward, but I think also with all the calls and pit stops, we did a good job.
You said yesterday that you weren't that happy with the balance of your car over one lap. Was it much better today in the race? Yeah, but in the long run, you anyway have quite a different car, and you never really are able to push to the limit.
So naturally, that was less of an issue anyway when I was already not happy in the beginning of the weekend. But I do think that there are still a few things that needs to be looked at. But for now, we're happy. And then tomorrow, once we get back home, we'll get on top of everything before we get to Jeddah.
Max, were there any issues for you at all? I mean, you came on the radio at one point talking about some rear locking. How serious was that? Any other issues?
It happens here and there. I mean, this is not something new. This has happened also in the last year, 2 years. This is something we are consistently working on and trying to make better. I think overall nothing too big of a concern.
Okay, and will this stunning pace that we've seen today translate elsewhere, to Saudi, for example?
Well, Saudi is quite a different track to this one. You have a lot more straights, fast corners, and a lot less deck. And I think here we were particularly good on the deck. So I do expect, in terms of race pace, that everyone is closer in Jeddah. Yeah.
Okay, but how much confidence, Max, do you take from this performance this weekend?
It's been a great start for us, for the whole team, So this is not something we are used to. We are very happy at the moment. But we always keep working.
All right. Many congratulations to you. Very well done. Checo, coming to you now. We saw great pace from you in that race, but it seemed it all came undone at the start. Is that the case?
Yeah, that was really the case. Missing out to Charles on that first stint. It was really difficult to get by him. He had the new tires, so you could see the difference on that first stint. And as soon as I was getting a bit closer to him, trying to attack him earlier on, I will just dig and destroy my tires. So I had to be really patient and get my way through it. And once he pitted, I was able to drive some fast laps. Let's say that my tires then on the second stint were in better shape than his, and I was able to get through. But it was just too late. It was just a few laps too many, too late, and that put us quite behind Max. And once that happened, we basically just maintained the gap throughout the race. So we had no chance to fight for the win. But today it was all about minimizing the bad start, and we got plenty of things to analyze to try to improve and get this consistency throughout the season.
It must have been an interesting fact-finding mission for you, being behind the Ferrari in that first stint. What did you learn about that car?
Yeah, you actually learn a lot about their car, where they are weak, where they're strong or stronger than us. So, I think I need to make sure that it stays fresh for my engineers later in the briefing.
Go on, share it with us now. No? Good. And are you happy with where you've got the car? Do you feel confident in the RB19?
Yeah, I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable with the car. I'm happy. I think we got some work to do. I think we both drivers pushing the car in the same direction, which is good. I think it's been an amazing start to the season. Our best start ever. So very different to last year.
Certainly is. Checo, very well done to you as well. Fernando, coming to you, podium number 99 of your career, your first Podium here in Bahrain since you won in 2010. Just how sweet is this moment for you?
It is. Obviously, a perfect start for this project. We didn't expect to be that competitive. I think the aim in 2023 was, getting the mix in the midfield, maybe leading that midfield and get close to the top 3 teams eventually. But even a podium maybe was not in the radar in 2023, and we found ourselves second best car today in Bahrain, or the whole weekend, like just behind Red Bull. So this is a little bit of a surprise, but we are extremely proud, happy with the job done at Silverstone in the factory. So big congratulations to everyone. Let's enjoy this moment and build from here, hopefully a good 2023 campaign and get closer and closer to the top guys.
So are you having to reset your expectations for the rest of this season, given what's happened today and this weekend?
Let's see. I think, I have the same feeling from testing, like too good to be true, and you are always expecting that something, will get, you will get a step back and you will get back to reality, but it seems real, the performance. And let's see in Jeddah. I'm curious to go to Jeddah and Australia, very different circuits. I think Max touched on before, high-speed corners, very little degradation. I think in Bahrain we were strong in things that maybe we don't find in Jeddah and Australia. So if we are strong in the next 2 races, I think we will have a very good 2023.
Okay, just a final one for me. Can you talk us through those overtakes on Hamilton and Sainz? How much did you enjoy them?
I did enjoy, because you ended up in front. That's always the same thing in any battle. But yeah, it's always the same. But when you fight at the front and with these great, drivers, great champions, it is a little bit more intense, a little bit more adrenaline when you are wheel to wheel. So, I didn't want to have any mistake or any contact, because obviously when you are P12 you lose nothing. But today we were fighting for big things, and I was happy, and the car was very nice to drive. That was probably our strength all through testing and this weekend. Even though the race felt very long, the last 10 laps, because I wanted to see the checkered flag and being on the podium, the car was very good to drive, and I could have drive for another hour or something just alone on track.
You mentioned contact there. Just, was there any contact between you and Lance?
Yeah, apparently in 2004 I thought it was George, but I saw the replay on TV later, and it was Lance. So yeah, he had a very good start, because he was alongside me in 2004. We got lucky. Obviously 2 cars, they didn't have any problem, and we could continue. But it was our lucky day for many things, for this contact, and also to be both cars with the strong points. So I'm very happy for the team, because they deserve it.
All right, very well done to you as well. Let's open this to the floor now. Who's got our first question, please? Name and publication.
Fred Ferrell, l'équipe. Question to Fernando. Is there any weakness in your car that you already can make it better? And we heard you speaking about something on your car at the end, avoiding the curb. Did you have any concern about it?
No, but we had very comfortable position, so I slowed down the pace and I informed the team that I could go faster, but I was avoiding the curbs and just bringing the car home. So yeah, there are a couple of areas that we have to improve that I will not share. But I think the most important point is that the new Aston Martin is just a new car, a new project. This is just the beginning. This is not the final car. This is just the starting car of this concept that we changed over winter. I think some of the top teams, they just kept the philosophy that they had last year. Red Bull or Ferrari, they kept more or less the same shapes, just fine-tuning things and make perfection of that good baseline that they had. For us, it was much more difficult. We have to change 95% of the car. So I guess there is more to learn from the car, and there is more to come on our side. So full trust on our team. Obviously, they know what they do. So let's hopefully improve soon.
Thank you, Fernando. Next one.
Jesús Balseiro de Arias. Question to Fernando. Could you elaborate how was your move over Luis on turn 10?
Yeah, I think it was. We were not very fast on the straight, so eventually you normally pass into 10-1 or into 10-4. And I think I passed Luis into 10-10 and Carlos into 10-11. So not the normal places because we could not match their straight line speed. So yeah, we had to make some moves in the corners before 10-10 and 10-11 and change trajectory and then get the overtake done. I think to Luis was more playing a surprise move there because no one overtakes into 10-11, let's say. And then with Carlos, it was close into 10-10 again. He closed the door and then I have a better exit into 10-11. But yeah, we need to see that because obviously we will love to pass just on the main straight like everyone does.
Thank you. Yep. Hello.
A question to Fernando. Yesterday, Checo mentioned that a strong point of your team is tyre management, and that your team banks on that on race day. So, how much did that play into effect compared to your overall, compared to other areas where in performance? And also, when it comes to your race pace, at some point in this race, you were almost matching the two drivers next to you. If it weren't for the start, do you think you could have been slightly closer to them within the race?
I think on the tires, yes, it seems that is one strength of our car. Some legacy from last year as well, because Aston Martin was very strong on Sundays last year as well. So, yeah, let's try to keep that thing on the car and just improve the Saturdays, which was maybe the weak point of last year for the team. And also yesterday we were not mega competitive. So let's work on that. And yeah, on the race pace, obviously we lost time. In the first stint, I just sat behind the Mercedes. In the middle stint, I have to pass George and Valtteri. And then on the final stint, I had to pass Luis and Carlos. So all in all, I'm sure that you lose 10 or 15 seconds on all those battles. So if we are 40 seconds behind the leader, we could have been maybe 20 seconds or 30 seconds. So yeah, not real fight yet to Red Bull.
Thank you. Another one.
Alex Kalinauckas, Autosport. Another question to Fernando, please. In both your battles with Lewis Hamilton and Carlos Sainz, you had big moments at turn 4. It looked like the car suddenly snapping left on you. Could you just talk through the two incidents there and what was causing that? Thanks.
I think we know what is causing that, but I will keep it for me. We're still working, as I said. The car is very new. We need to learn more from the car. I need to get used to the car. So those moments were more coming from me, getting used to the car, getting used to the driving input, feedback from the steering wheel, power assistance. So things that they are not 100% tailor-made yet.
Thank you.
Ronald Vording, motorsport.com. It's a question to Max, but Checo, he can add if he wants to. Given the balance issues that we talked about on Friday and Saturday, are you surprised to see how big the gap actually is on the first race compared to the first non-Red Bull car? And secondly, you talked about Jeddah a little bit. We can see the data that Ferrari at least made a step in their top speed. So what do you expect from Ferrari in Jeddah? Thank you.
Yeah, I think I already said before that the one-lap performance to the race is very different in balance requirements anyway. So even like I said before, on Friday I was not happy with the one-lap performance. My long runs were still okay. So not really surprised. I'm just, of course, happy that it worked out like this. But yeah, Jeddah is going to be quite different again. Our cars, it seems quite strong in high speed, but you're right. I think Ferrari is quite quick on the straight, which in Jeddah, of course, is very nice to have, let's say like that. But yeah, time will tell. I mean, it's really hard to know. We've only really driven these cars here in Bahrain, so we just have to wait and see. We'll, of course, try and get there in the best shape possible, and then we'll find out throughout practice, where we are exactly.
Anything to add, Checo?
Oh, it's nice to see 3 Red Bull cars on the podium.
Very droll. Okay, next one.
Yes, question, Carlos Miquel, Diario Marca, question for Fernando and for the Red Bull drivers. For Alonso is about...
We are all Red Bull drivers.
Okay. Fernando, after that podium, do you think in the 33rd victory? And for the, I ask after to the Red Bull.
Yeah, I would say yes, because when you are P3 on race 1, there are 22 opportunities this season. Yeah, and even last year, I remember in Canada, wet qualifying, we were in the first row of the grid. Anything can happen in 22 races with different conditions, and I will try my best to have the opportunity. Maybe we need some help. Last year, we needed some help from the top teams just to get a podium. Maybe this year, if there is this help or there is some retirements in front of us or some problems, maybe it's more than a podium. So let's hope for that.
Yeah. The question for Max and Checo. Do you read that Fernando could be a contender for the championship this year?
I hope so for Fernando as well, because he has had a few years where there was not really a possibility to fight up the front. So I'm happy to see him, sitting here already in race 1. And I think also, again, I mentioned it before, but at Aston Martin, I think they really have the spirit and drive. They want to win, and they've hired a lot of good people. So yeah, I guess it can only get better for them. And I think for this year, difficult to say if they're going to challenge for the championship, but race wins are definitely on the table. I mean, I've been in the same position where some races I'm finishing 20 to 40 seconds behind the winners, and you still win 2 or 3 races a year, because sometimes there are like some tracks which really suit your car and everything just comes together and you can win a race with maybe sometimes a bit of help or luck. But yeah, for sure, they have a really strong package, and now of course it's all about developing it further.
I'm first of all very happy to see Aston and Fernando up here. I think it's been a tremendous effort, and it's great to see Fernando on his first race for the team on the podium. I think they certainly have a very good car. They will be a contender for sure in few tracks. So yeah, I think you know that the seasons in Formula 1 are extremely long, so anything can happen. So yeah, it's just nice to see Fernando and Aston.
Fernando, when did you last feel this positive, this upbeat after race 1 of a season?
I think 2013. Yeah, we were leading the championship, I think, after Barcelona. Yeah, so we had a contender package, but yeah, after that, I think I didn't feel as good as now.
Thank you. Yep. Another one.
Aaron, Racing News 365. Question to all drivers. Last year, Aston Martin ended as 7th in the Constructors' Championship. Obviously, with the new rules, is this the ultimate proof that now Aston Martin is fighting for the podium, that the rules are working since last year?
Why don't we start with you, Fernando?
I don't think so, no. I think you need to have the vision and the ambition of Lawrence Stroll, of our leadership and our management, because the opportunities are there for everybody, but it seems that only one team is willing to do whatever it takes to win. And, I'm proud to be part of this organization.
Yeah, Fernando's absolutely right. I think he mentioned all of it, and I think it doesn't matter if it was the previous generation or this one. I think if you have the right people in charge, and they really want to win, and they hire the right people, anything is possible.
Yeah, nothing more to add.
Thank you. Yep.
Luke Smith from The Athletic. Max, this is the first time in 12 years that Red Bull have won the opening race of the F1 season. How different do things feel at the team compared to, say, this time last year when there was the double DNF to start? And what does that say about the rest of the season and the strength that you can carry through the year?
A double DNF will be nice.
Last year was very disappointing, of course. I mean, that normally was a P2, so yeah. I do think our mentality also has changed a bit compared to like a few years ago in terms of how we are operating and how we are developing a car. And yeah, I mean, it's great to finally have a car which is able to win from the start. And I mean, it also helps that the car is not so overweight. It's perfectly fine now. But yeah, this is a great start. But we also know that throughout the season you have to keep on developing. Of course, we are on that, but we hope, of course, that's going to be more than the other teams because you have to try and keep that advantage going.
Okay, we've got time for one more.
Alex Kanalorkas, Autosport. Question to Checo, please. Just going back to the very start of the race, what happened there? How come you weren't able to follow Max from second? Thank you.
Yeah, I basically lost the position to Charles, and that very much defined my race. As I say, he was very strong on that first stint, and every time I could get close to him, I was just taking off my tire. So it was very important for me to get to lap 15, 16, and having still a good tire where I can push and make a bit of a tire delta, so I could get him by, and once that happened, Max was just too far down the line.
Thank you, Checo. Thank you to all three of you. Very well done. See you in Jeddah. Thank you.